Welcome everyone to the author's Quill. I was a little wondering if it was going to start there or not. Man, this is 2 weeks now, half an hour late. It's all John's fault. Whatever it is, it's John's fault. We're blaming John for it. We're blaming it on John. It's some LA riots. That's what's causing
Yeah,
all
that's
these
what it
problems.
is.
It's these LA riots. Oh man, maybe it's a
What
war in
happened to
Israel and
Haileigh?
Iran.
She's now sitting
She's
sideways in the room.
sideways. She
I
she
don't know
said
why.
she said she has gone sideways on this
She's defying
conversation.
gravity. She's defying gravity.
Oh God, ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the Authors Club. Really do hope everyone's having a better Saturday than this one was. Actually, everything was nice and set up and pretty, and for some reason, the links were sending us to last night's newsroom, which was really weird. Plus, I was all nice and pretty dressed up, and then my daughter calls me. Says, I got a flat tire. I'm like, you're kidding me. I said, I got to be on the air in like 35 minutes. She said, but I have a flat tire and you got the lug wrench in your car. I'm like, oh, geez. So I had to go change a tire. I was like, you got to be kidding me. So I don't have a tire on. It's too hot when I walk back in the house. But anyway, Haileigh, welcome. How you been? Everybody's been treating you good, even though you're sideways. I'm going to have
Yeah,
to,
sorry.
there's got to be a way to fix this, man. I'm going to get a crick in my neck. I can see it coming. Oh, anyway. John's going to whip out the illustrator on
Yeah,
you.
so here's one of the images that Haileigh
I
illustrated
can't.
for storm damage. And then she also illustrated the second story. She was able to do two stories. Which
See,
is
that's what
great.
happens when you're special. When you're special, you
I
get to
know.
do two
When you can
stories.
when you can stand sideways on things, and that's she also did Slipstone, and that's also with Haileigh Enriquez, which is great. She's
See if I can see it better on mine. That's still too dark. Yeah. Put it up in that. Not enough light in my office.
anyway. So it's also you got almost like two different styles. It's like one you're sitting sideways in a room, the other one you're sitting straight up in a room or something. I don't know.
It's
I,
I guess it's the
and
way.
I guess I'm having my own technical difficulties. I have no idea. I started off as
I know.
horizontal, now landscape.
I don't know, it's weird. You moved around there for a little while, but then you came back. I don't know. It was kind of strange. I look on today. I'm not even questioning anything. Everything seems to be a little bit odd. I don't even have us on Rumble right now. I'm gonna do that as we're talking because it was none of the systems wanted to come up. Ladies and
So
gentlemen, no,
Haileigh,
it's
so like you've got two different stories here. So what was it like doing two different illustrations? Because there's like totally different types of stories.
Yes, I do know that they had like certain similar elements. That's why it was, I guess, maybe a bit easier for me to do. But to be honest, I was just really honored and really happy that I got to be able to have another chance to create such a wonderful, illustration, and even more so be able to read another person's story. And it was just absolutely fantastic. Both of them by
Yeah.
TR and Sandra. They're beautiful stories, and I absolutely loved each and every one of them. And I think what made me excited was that because they were different, I got to certainly experiment with certain different types of like a different process when I was drawing them. So it was really exciting and I really, really enjoyed it. And I'm very proud with how they came out.
Yeah, no, it was great what you did. So, what's life been like since returning from Los Angeles?
Oh, it's kind of like returning to reality. So being at the workshops and having the gala, you're on a high and then you come back, you're like, oh, we gotta go to work. We gotta do all these
yeah.
normal things that we also always have to do. But I think the best part, to be honest, that really stuck with me was a new sense of motivation and inspiration that I can very much admit I was very much low on before the start of this. So coming back, it gave me a new purpose, and I
Right.
was just really thankful for that because, like I said, I haven't felt that in a while. So it was really cool to feel that again, and now the only thing was trying to fit it around with the daily, just the daily errands and work and everything. But now with everything summer in session, it gives me this free time to be more creative and put the things that are in my mind onto paper finally.
Are you like, what's your normal work? Are you are students still? Is that what? So you're talking about summer?
No, no. So I'm actually in education. I work as a substitute teacher's aide and after school programs. So yeah, that's why I'm a program leader and substitute teacher. So
You must
that's
be a
why.
sweetie, because I'd be just choking them little kids out, man. Just,
Actually, yeah, I work mainly in elementary school and
oh God, you got to be
primarily
a
with
sweetie. I couldn't do it.
kindergartners.
Oh my God, I couldn't do it. I couldn't do it. I'd
Oh
be
yeah.
hanging by the little feetsies. And
So
Patience, I
I'm
think, is
just
the
saying, she's so
number
much more of an
one.
angel than I am. I couldn't do it. I would. It would be. It would.
she's
It would
definitely
not
that.
be.
She is
It
definitely
would.
that.
It certainly takes patience, but honestly, I think I'm actually very thankful for it as well because it's definitely given me a new perspective. It's also given me a bit of an inspiration because you're around with kids so much, you truly get to see what they're into and how their like I say little
Mm,
minds, but they're so big because they can be so creative, and
Yeah.
I'm
I
just telling you.
truly
I call them
love
heathens.
enjoying seeing that. Yeah, I call them munchkins.
I'll call them heathens. Demons
No,
is
they
what
could be
they are.
they're very interesting, and it's really awesome to see that like they're so pure and they're so innocent. So getting to see them and work with them, even doing like artwork, is
Mhm.
actually really amazing. So I try to actually, put that a little bit and connect it with my artwork as well. But yes, so now that, summer is starting, schools is out, I have much more time and energy to finally be able
Yeah.
to pursue more of my own artwork.
I get it. So do you still have like your camaraderie with your other artists or the judges or anything else like that?
Yeah, actually, I made sure, after everything I emailed and I wanted to touch base with everybody. I'm actually still in progress trying to talk with Rob Pryor. We're trying to, to work like we're doing some studio work and really getting some good expertise from him because he was really amazing. And heck, I just talked to Branda, another winner from the contest this morning. So
Yeah, we're doing a
it's been
Zoom at
really great.
4:30 this afternoon. She's got an event happening. Then we're going to be doing a Zoom on creating the Illustrator forum. So I got her, Tremini, and
Yeah.
Cherie. We're doing a Zoom to go over what to do on that to make that start going.
Oh yeah, I think it was what was really cool is that we all felt it was really important to create a group chat. So we're all still in communication with each other. So it's been really great.
Well, that's good. Yeah, it's just it's a it's a total different scene now with
Yeah.
the result of having the internet and having these various chats and things that can be created from beforehand. Because before you either had phone or letters is the only way you could really communicate or see people at conventions.
Yes.
This is like way, it's not even old school. It's like a different world to yours, but that's what it used
Yes.
to be. So the ability to maintain relationships is so much better because of the internet, as long as it doesn't exclude the personal contact, which is something that happened because of the pandemic, that people stopped doing that. And that's that was unfortunate, because it's really important to have that face to face, that tactile relationship with other people, to see them.
Yeah.
At least I think, but I'm from that era where that's important. you know
Yes.
I like.
I believe the same thing, even with newer technology, the whole point is that it's supposed to become more convenient, more manageable. So I think that it is still very important to keep base and keep up with everybody to build those relationships and nurture
Yeah.
them.
Yeah, it's funny. When I was, there was somebody that was the head of a publishing organization. She came over and we recorded a podcast. This was the end of last year, and we went and did a photo. And, you did the fig leaf photo, which is like, with all the Me Too and the wackadoodle stuff there. You can't
Mm.
touch somebody. You can't do this. I said, I'm sorry, this is just so not me. She said, me either. So we put our arm around each other and just, took an actual photo. And it's interesting how it's gotten so, you've got to be able to like share relationships. And I think that's one
Mhm.
thing that happens with the rise when people come out for the the workshop, you're able to build these relationships with
Yeah.
people, not just other artists, but also the writers and the judges, like you said with Rob Pryor. I mean, he's insane busy, but the fact that he wanted to extend his, his help to you is great. And that's one of the benefits of the contest, that they each will see something different in different people. And so, whereas Judge A might not say, okay, I'm interested in Brianda, then he's said, no, I'm interested in Haileigh, and wanting to, like, each has their own separate what they see and wanting to be able to reinforce and help.
Yeah. I think that was something that I definitely felt just very gracious and lucky to truly be a part of and get that kind of positive attention.
Yeah. Now you're going to be coming to Dragon Con?
Yes. Yes, it's official. I'm very excited. Yes,
Yeah.
I'm very excited.
And your page,
It's
and Emily's
official.
gotten your page all set up?
The page, I'm not too sure yet, but I do know that the con just accepted my application and gave me,
Good.
and they confirmed me. So that was just maybe a few days ago. So it's probably
Yeah, so
still
look on the
in the
website
process.
under the guests. You should see your name in there.
Oh, okay. I'll make sure and I'll look. Yeah. But
Yeah.
yeah, I just finalized everything, my stay, my travel, everything. So it's completely official. Yeah, I will be there.
Oh, good. And then I'm not sure if Rob's going to be there. He used to come all the time to Salt Lake City to the FanX.
Mm,
But so where are you located?
LA.
Okay, good. So yeah, there's also his studio's right here too. So it's very easy for you to be able to, well, theoretically, just from
Yeah.
proximity to be able to connect it. But he's all over the place.
Yeah,
He was
definitely.
at,
I mean, I
he was
know
at
for
the
sure
he
he
was at
went
the
to.
grand premiere of the
Oh
Tom
yeah, a
Cruise
Mission
movie.
Impossible.
Yeah, he was there at that
Yes.
one in his tuxedo, looking like all
Yes.
dressed to the nines.
Yes, and he was at because he told me he was at the Canes Festival.
Yeah, yeah,
So I thought that was so cool.
yeah. He's definitely moving up on that whole thing, and I think next summer when he goes up into SpaceX, into the rocket for a week or 2 weeks or whatever it is to do all those paintings. Yeah,
Wow, I didn't know that one. That's pretty cool.
Yeah. He's definitely all over the place. So now with the now that we were in April, so May, June, so we're a couple months after now you having returned. So what do you remember most about your week here in Hollywood, or what's right now is the most seems the most impactful?
Hmm. No, it's funny. I was actually just looking over my notes of some of the notes that we took during the workshops. To be honest, I think that was something that was super impactful because I'm looking over these things and things that, I obviously hadn't remembered or off the top of my head. And I just thought that was like just, just these little pieces of information, whether it be um, Dan Soto's um, process, or even, I think even more so was looking at my notes from the portfolio reviews. The
Yeah,
portfolio reviews I felt were definitely the most impactful because I'm looking at these notes and hearing exactly what, the advice they're giving specifically to me. You know what I mean? Over as far as like how my work, what I should be doing, or what good things I'm doing and what I need to work on more and pursue. And I think those were definitely like the most valuable. And heck, I was just looking over them because I'm trying to create more work
hmm,
for the convention coming up. So, I think that was something very vital, and I'm happy and just really thankful to have that.
that's good. Were you in the line after Irvin Rodriguez did his talk? Then I was scheduling to have a lunch with him, and all of a sudden, everybody was lining up from behind me saying, "He's got my ideal job." It's like,
Yeah.
it's just like everybody was like, "I want to talk to him more."
Yeah, yeah, that was, well, we definitely were. All of us. I mean, I was right there. One person gave a card and we're just like, oh, yes, okay, here's my card. Here's my card. Here's my information.
Yeah,
Please look us up. So
yeah,
yeah,
he's
no, I was
such a
definitely
nice
there.
guy. I mean, he was a grand prize winner, I think,
Hmm.
15 years before, and then Brittany Jackson was also a grand prize winner,
Yeah,
and
she was so sweet.
yeah, and she's what's interesting too is all those people. And then also Brian Hales was
Mhm.
also a past grand prize winner. All three of them were past grand prize winners. They're so humble, such nice people, and just want to be able to help, as much as
Yeah.
possible. Just here we go, helping you.
Yeah. It was definitely amazing. They were
Yeah.
all really great people, and I'm just happy and lucky to have met them.
Yeah. And it's one thing too, like, just we're in our 42nd year now, and this contest was originally created in 1983 by Owen Hubbard, and it's just pretty interesting that we're in our 5th decade now of doing that, and this year we're actually going to break our 1,000th winner mark, of the contest, and
That's
so
so cool.
it's very cool. Have you had it? Have you talked to other people, or have you had your own perspectives of like just the impact of this legacy that Mr. Hubbard created?
Mm, I mean, I think we've all been kind of on that same page, on the same page of kind of just feeling like it's very surreal. It was very surreal having had all that attention and having all that amazing opportunity, and then coming home and trying to be able to keep up with it. I think we all were just so thankful that we were able to be a part of it.
Uh-huh.
And now we're just trying to make sure that none of that information, that vital information that we all gained, um, doesn't just, be forgotten and doesn't get some kind of use out of. So I
Right.
think that's what definitely we're all there for.
Yeah, and it's important too, like you said, you got your notes, and some of them of the winners when I've talked to says, yeah, some of the things that were said I didn't really get, but then 5 years later or however many years later, getting more established, all of a sudden I understood what whatever speaker was talking about, so some of the stuff is just kind of like, over your head, or at least this seems important. I don't know how it is, but it seems important. So as you go back through your notes, all of a sudden, as a career starts building, if you stick with your art and it continues to grow, whether you go into, I'm going to teach kids art, or I'm going to develop my own career as an artist, all of a
Yeah.
sudden different things will start resonating more than they did at that point when it was just this constant, fire hydrant, open your mouth, unhinge your jaw, and like, just have it all just shot into you, which means a lot of stuff from a lot of professionals, and everybody that talked to you makes their living as an artist. That's what they do,
Yeah.
So they're not talking like a teacher that, has done some paintings, but they actually sell paintings and make their living selling paintings, or they make their living writing books and pay their bills with the proceeds from their sales.
Yeah.
It's a whole different thing to actually be a pro at this stuff as compared to having it be an avocation.
hmm I completely agree. I think
So,
that's what's the best part, is having and saving that information and doing something great with it.
yeah. So what do you see right now as your future track?
Future track, as much as I love, dealing with kids and education, I think it was definitely vital. I feel like that's maybe something I would like to come back to in the future. Because I really want to focus on creating my own art, whether it be actually maybe primarily focusing on my original characters, possibly developing that into something more, whether it be a comic book or, animation. That's
Mm-hmm.
where I'm maybe not too sure yet, but definitely nurturing that and trying to see where I can take it, and getting those characters either out there, or at the very least putting it out there so that I may be able to get jobs within the industry and I can create other types of amazing characters.
Yeah. And then one thing too is to take some time and go through the Dragon Con website
hmm
to see all the different booths, see the other exhibitors, the other, comic creators, um, other things that you have interest in, so that you can then prepare and come see them, and even
Yeah.
see if there's contact information there and reach out to them so that you can meet with them, you know.
Oh, yeah. No.
Yeah, so like the way I got Larry Elmore on as a judge is we made a list of, and same thing with Dan Dos Santos, we made a list of judges at DragonCon. This was specifically DragonCon, of artists. And I just went to meet with them, and I had a little brochure of Writers of the Future and Illustrators of the Future and a book. And I went to see them, and Larry was like, who is this guy? He's just kind of like, whatever. And then he said, he kept on pestering me. He said, okay, so what is it? What is this? How Larry gets.
Yeah.
And then he was just like, oh, this looks okay. I'll give it a shot. Okay, I'll give it a shot. And then he said, I had no idea, but that's how I just went and just met him at his booth.
Yeah.
And the same thing with Dan Dos Santos. Emily met him, and he originally came by our booth, and she had these cool boots on. He said, I love your boots. And so he wanted to take a picture of her boots to use them as material
Reference.
for his painting, reference for his paintings. And so then she just built up the relationship, and then he became we got him to become a judge as he found out more about it. And then obviously Larry Elmore is quite a thing. And then when some of these people, when they find out like Frank Frazetta was a judge, like, oh my God, or the past people that were judges,
Jack
kind of like all these guys, they're like, that's quite a pedigree of people we had working with it. So just all of a sudden, by positioning alone, you're like, okay, good. There's something special about this. And then because it's, as it goes on, like, you see somebody like, Irvin Rodriguez and these other people I was talking about that are past winners that now are just such amazingly successful artists, and then because they got their own start, like Brittany was just so shy and so introverted, and we just, I just loved her to pieces, and just, she was just so talented, but didn't see it, and that's one of the things. So it was great just having her there. And then when she was up for a NAACP award out here in Hollywood, she said, will you be my +1? Will you be my, guest? So we went to the award, and this is for her. She didn't win the final. She was a finalist, but this is for her Parker Looks Up book. And but it was great, just being able to share in the growth and expansion with winners and judges who, as they become judges and successful in life.
That's awesome. That's really cool. I think, and thank you for that bit of advice, actually. That's really, really helpful. I know I'll definitely look more into Dragon Con and all the people up and seeing how I can better prepare for it.
Yeah, I mean, take advantage of it. You're going to be there, and you're going to have a lot of free time to be able to go out and just do that, because that's part of how you're going to be able to build relations. I know Joe's got a lot of experience with that too, going around and just making relationships.
And high. I mean, you can't be shy. I mean, if you want to make money, you can't be bashful.
Definitely not. That I completely understand.
You got to shake hands and say hello and say how you doing, what you doing, and then you say, "Give me your damn money." No, not like that. But I tell you what, being that you're an artist, I'll tell you a little secret, and it's something you need to hone your skills on. So when I'm out doing a contract, if I'm out going to do a bid for somebody, I'll sit down and talk to them, and then I'll go home and I'll write up everything. And then I hate to say this, and I shouldn't say this on air, but I don't really so much always do my profits margins by 10 or 15%, because sometimes I'll look at a person and say, okay, they expect me to charge them this much. And I learned this the hard way, because when I was young, I used to go as low as I could or as close to low as I could, but it cost me jobs, because a lot of big people and a lot of rich people know they don't want to go with the low guy. That's not what they're interested in. So if you're selling a piece of art and you're selling it for $25, and when you're looking at it, it's probably worth $400 or $500 or $600, always start high. They can always talk you down. Give them, and you know what? People feel better when they think they get a deal. Even if they're not getting a deal, they still feel better, because I'll go in sometimes I'll inflate a bid by 20%, and the customer goes, "Oh God, Joe, really, man?" I mean, I was like, "Well, what do you think?" He said, "Can you come down 10, 12?" Yeah, I can come down 10. Boom, sign contract, and I'm still over 10% over my profit margin. So I'm always really happy like that. So it's the same thing for y'all. It's unless you're working for a company, but if you're freelancing, you got to learn how to. I watch these people in the French Quarter doing portraits, $500 to $2,500 a portrait, and they're doing it right there on the spot.
Yeah.
So I'm like, how much? I'm like, man, I need to learn how to draw. I'm in the wrong line of work, man. I'm talking to Bruce one day. He tells me, he says, well, I had a bad week this week. I said, well, how much you made? He said, about 11 grand. I'm like, a bad week? He's like, yeah, it's just kind of bad week. He's, I usually make about twice that. I'm like, you're kidding me. He said, no, people, they watch you do somebody's portrait and then they want their portrait done. And some of them just, do pencil. Some do, a lot of them do oil, but a lot of them do pastels.
Mm.
Not pastels, but I guess like a chalk. It's fun to
Mhm.
watch. I mean, it's kind of entertaining to watch them. There'll be 15 or 20 of them out there doing it. Plus, they'll have all this other artwork from around the city, artwork that they've gone out and drawn or painted from around the city. That stuff sells like candy, man. I am not kidding you. I watch it. You can go out there one day and go back the next, and half their stock is gone, especially if it's like a holiday. And New Orleans has a lot of festivals, so there's a lot of people coming and going. They sell a lot of art down there. It's fun. I mean, it's fun to watch. The only people that actually give them any trouble is the table wrappers, the card readers. That's the only ones that
Mm.
give, because they charge $150 a reading for a 20-minute reading. And yeah, that's what I said. I said, how much? 150 for what? Oh yes,
Mm.
yeah. Look, you've been possessed, and your husband is weird. Give him $150. Just
You need this.
you should buy his artwork over there. So I want a commission on that artwork. So I'm getting my pay plus a commission. That stuff works that good. But really and truly, there's a lot of really good artists in New Orleans, and you'll see them. You'll be walking through the quarter, and you'll walk past the corner. There's a guy with an easel just going to town, painting away, painting just a corner of a building, and it'll sell for ungodly amount of money. I mean, Larry Hatches, he did one of the Mardi Gras posters. His oil, I bought it for $750 and sold it for $35,000. It's well, actually was with commission, I came out to like 26.7 or something. But still, I mean, it's a piece of it was a big piece of art, but still, I mean, it's a lot of money for just one little painting. But I
I
guess,
think I think that's important because it actually establishes them. It actually shows that like, no, I am a true artist and
yes,
I know my own ability and I trust my own ability and this is what I'm going to sell my ability for.
yeah. Well, you need to, because when it comes right down to it, people are going to judge you they're going to always judge you by your artwork, but they're also going to judge you by your own confidence, meaning by the way you're charging. So you'll
Yeah.
see, and now there's places you'll go, like if you go to the flea markets and all, you'll see artwork as good as some of the stuff you're seeing in the quarter, but at a third of the price.
Hmm.
And they do sell it, but it doesn't have the same meaning as buying that one hanging on a fence in front of St. Louis Cathedral, which is 4 times as much. But for some reason, they prefer that one over the one from the flea market. It's a thing. I guess it's a status thing for a lot of people. Frankly, they both were really good, so I would buy either one. It's one of those things. But you do see a lot of that. I mean, you see a lot of artwork at the different flea markets. They actually don't call them flea markets anymore. They got a new name for them because they're different now. But
Swap meets.
well, no, what
Yeah.
they do now is a lot of people, they're like consignment stores. A lot of people come in and put their stuff in there. Matter of fact, I bought my daughter.
A
Somebody did
spare
this.
tire.
No, that she can buy that. She makes all kind of money these days. But um, I bought this picture. It's a ferry. It's
Mhm.
I can't remember the name. It's actually an alcohol Abastine. But anyway, that's what the actual ferry was, and it's a really great picture. And the lady's like, well, it was really the freaking frame was worth more than probably the picture was. And she's like, oh, I want $89. I said, how about $49? She said, how about $55? I said, fine. The freaking frame was worth more than that. And I was like, sure. And then when I looked up the poster online, I think the poster went for about $450 or $550. And so I gave it to my daughter as a Christmas present. I said, here you go. She said, you think I'm just crazy fairy? I said, oh, most definitely. I think that. Hang that on
That's
your wall,
that's sweet.
remind you. But I mean, it's just so much really good artwork out there. And as long as it's not AI, but I'm telling you, I'm not buying no AI.
Yeah.
And
Did one of
I
the things that Echo go over with you, Haileigh? One of the things that Lisa used to do is to go over
Mhm.
how to price, how to sell your stuff, so you know how much to charge for your art. Was that one of the things that you guys went over there at the workshop?
Yes,
Oh,
definitely. I
good,
remember I have those notes down too.
yes,
good.
and her oils aren't cheap either. It's her and I
Yeah.
have we've debated on air. I'm like, Echo, I like that one. I said, how much? I said, Echo, come on, I'm a friend, man. I give you a free show. Can't I get a discount? No, you can't. No, Tom won't give me no damn discount either. I'm like, what? This some shit, man. I just want a little tiny discount. Um, but I always like the creative process. I always like watching it. But I always do ask what if it was made by AI because I won't buy it. I'm like, no, thank you. I can go home and do
No,
that myself.
yeah, I found that very important. And then I forget exactly which artist at the workshop said this, but I thought it was actually really important. He said, don't look at AI as something that is going to be, something that puts you out of business or is the enemy, really. It's you learn how to work with it and how it can be your best friend. And I think that was really important. It doesn't mean that, oh, you put something in an AI generator and it creates the artwork for you and it's like, ta-da, that's it, you're done. No, it's more like when we as artists, we always use reference so much and we rely on it to a degree. It's important when technology, all these new technologies come out and we can actually use it to be used as a reference, not as something that is our final product and is a crutch. It's something that we could actually use and use as this form of inspiration or simply as a help, not just something as like we produce it and we say, oh, this is our artwork and that's it. I
Well,
think that's where I've learned.
Yeah.
I know for things like little thumbnails and stuff like that. Um, a lot of the hosts like to use it because it's easy. And now
Hmm.
with two of the companies we use, we have a couple of banner maker companies we use for the network that we
Hmm.
actually pay for so they can make their own banners. Well, recently, two of them have incorporated AI. And the thing
Hmm.
about it is, I mean, I watched Jenny the other day. It was like 14 words. Now, she'd have paid big money for this banner because it's very unique. It's got a lot of color and it's got a lot of things going on in it, and it stands out. It's a really pretty banner, but it is after all AI. And we are still kind of funny about AI on a network. We're not real big about supporting it because we have too many friends that are artists. So we're not real big about supporting it. But I mean, it is a
Yeah.
cheap way to knock things off. I know Bruce and them
Hmm.
use it in they use it in their gaming company, but they use it differently. So
Yeah.
they bring in their illustrators. So actually, they bring in their people who do storyboards first, and then they get with the illustrators. And the storyboard people come up with the design they're looking for that particular part of the game. And once the illustrators get it done, then they let AI come in and mass produce it so that when it's time for the programmers to come in, because it's a 3-step phase, everything's already there. So what they do is they take out the long parts. So once the rough storyboards are done, AI comes in and finishes the storyboards. Same thing with the artwork. Once the rough is cut and everything's done by the illustrators, they come in and they use AI to fix that part. But they let the authors and the illustrators ride shotgun over the AI, making sure
Yeah.
everything is staying the way they want it. Because AI has a tendency sometimes to go. It's like it's daydreaming or something sometimes,
Hmm.
and it
Yeah.
goes off on its own. So they do stuff like that because they didn't want to fire anybody, they didn't want to lose anybody. So what it's allowed this company to do where it used to take them 3 years to produce a game. Now they're going to produce a game in about 12 to 14 months, which means their profit margins go up, which means they can pay their employees more and they don't have to get rid of any employees and they don't have to hire any more employees, which means the ones that are there, jobs are safe, and we'll see consistent raises because the company is now making twice what it was making before.
And
So,
that's
and
what I
that,
think is important.
yeah, so in that aspect, it's a good thing. But in the
Yeah.
place where you have people submitting that as genuine art, that's when I start having a problem. I'm
Yeah,
still
I
not
agree.
I'm still not comfortable with AI has its own art yet because it's stealing from everybody else. Plus, Congress said that it may pull any AI that had to learn from multiple people's art or actually anything. They said if they had to use stuff that was on the internet that was copyrighted and it used it, they're thinking about any AI that has done that has to be shut down. Well, that's all the AIs. That's how they learn. They
Yeah.
plug in the internet and they learn. That's how they do it. So Congress has gotten funny because a lot of people have started suing. They're like, no, that looks like my artwork. No, I'm sorry, I don't care if it's AI or not. It looks like mine. So they start suing. So
Yeah.
it's part of the game. We're gonna see where it's harder for illustrators than it is for authors because AI hasn't quite got writing down to a technique yet. A lot of times it'll have a real good opening, even a decent ending, but when you start reading through the story, you're like it's like jibber jabber going through the story. And I would imagine if it had to do a consistent imagination poster, like something that was like wall length and there was a lot of stuff, and it may have a hard time with that too. I'm not sure its imagination has reached the standards of a human yet. So and humans think oddballs sometimes where a computer might not.
Hmm.
They might think of a color and go, "Oh, that'll work," and the computer's like, "No, those two colors don't go together ever."
Yeah.
So I
Yeah.
mean, we're
But anyway,
getting
so
there.
just real quick, because I know we're
Yeah.
going to be running out of time with her. Just can you a little bit, because anybody that's here that's listening to this or watching this, um, your process of entering and winning the contest, and just any tips or advice of like how do you submit and how do you enter the contest for anybody that's aspiring, like um, to get that break as an artist.
You're asking me how,
I'm
like,
asking you like what your process was to when you originally submitted, how many times did you submit? And then also what does an artist do? I mean, I can tell them, but
yes.
you're way prettier than
So
me.
as far thank you. Well, to be honest, this was my first time ever submitting any artwork
Wow.
for
Yeah,
not only
illustrators win more often first than authors do. That's for damn sure.
it was my first contest I submitted for, and uh it was there were maybe like a little ones here and there, but this was certainly, yeah, no, this was the first one I ever submitted for. First time I ever submitted for this contest in particular. And yeah, I got a call from Joni and with the big news, and it was just amazing. But I learned about it because of April, you know,
April
April
Solomon.
former,
Solomon. Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, another winner. So I went to school with her, and she's a fantastic artist. And it was during her last semester that she had won. And our school made big news out of it. And everyone was really proud of her. And I think that's why that was the first time I heard about the contest. So when hearing about that contest, I thought, I had just graduated as well when I submitted, and I just figured, you know what? What's the worst they can say? She had this great opportunity, and things turned out are even then are still going well for her. And I'm trying to put myself out there, and this is a great first step. So I did, and here I am, and or at least I got to go through that whole great experience, and I was just very thankful for it. So I think that any artist, honestly, just go doing a deep dive into all these different types of contests because you don't know what exactly you can benefit from it, just other than just say prize money or something. From this, I got more than just that. I got an experience out
Yeah.
of it, something that I know I don't think really any other contest could truly give. So to see that, and then to truly see that these people, you, John, were right on your word. You delivered, I think, was something that made it seem almost too good to be true, to simply being that good and it
Yeah.
being true. So, yeah.
Good. Well, thank you. Yeah. So for those who don't know, if you go to writersofthefuture.com, you can also go to illustratorsofthefuture.com too, because that also
Hmm.
links straight to that. And then you go on the left side. If you navigate to the left side, you can there's a link there. It says enter illustrator contest. You upload 3 pieces of art. You sign up and you enter sign up 3 pieces of art. It's free. You maintain all
Hmm.
the rights to your art. And then judges, it's the contest administrator takes it and forwards the art to the judges, and the judges are the ones that decide who the winners are and go through the whole process. And all they ever see is your art. They have no idea of your name, your age, your nationality, your ethnic, anything. It's just straight your art and a number. And so they
That's awesome.
choose, it's because it's speculative fiction, it's illustration. It's got to be some type of science fiction or fantasy element. And it's got to be illustration. So it's got to help tell a story. And then they choose every quarter they'll choose 8 finalists, and that then goes to the other judges. And Echo Chernick is the coordinating judge and goes to them, and they decide, they vote based on originality, creativity. What does it help really tell a story? And then they get forward on, and at the end of each quarter, there's 3 winners, and then in the year, there's 4 quarters, so there's 12 winners. And then what was the process like when you're given then your stories to illustrate?
Oh, that was so cool. Um,
Oh,
so nice one. So we were, yeah, so I believe it was Maliva. Maliva gave us the stories. And they decide exactly thinking, maybe what would be a best fit, between author and illustrator. And I was very happy with the ones that I got. Um, so we were giving these stories, we read them, and from there we use the story to create a illustration. And from there, we have a whole month. We do check-ins, updates with the work, and finally submit the final art. And that's, we hold our breath, and hopefully it's the it's the grand prize. But
anyway, you're publishing a book, and now you're an international
exactly.
best-selling illustrator, which is great. And it's
Yeah.
just like what happened with Frank Frazetta, one of our first judges, when he was given L. Ron Hubbard's book, Battlefield Earth, to illustrate. And that's what Joe is holding up there. That's what's turned into the cover for Battlefield Earth. And it's even better when it's right side up. And and it's one thing which Joe just reminded me by putting it up there. This is tomorrow is Father's Day. And so I just sent a box of books to Joe. So we've got Battlefield Earth. And so what we're doing, however you do that, Joe, I'll tag this over to you. Like to be able, I sent some they've been given away to those of you who got fathers. You'd love to give it's a great book. It's well over 4 million copies sold, and it's won so many different awards as a best-selling science fiction book. But then how do you do this, Joe? So I sent you half a dozen of Battlefield Earth and half a dozen copies of volume 41 with Haileigh's
I'm actually
art in there.
So what we're going to do is I don't know. I'm going to have to be keeping this one. I don't know, guys. This is the big daddy here. Anyway, we're going to give it away. It's so we got. How we're going to do this? Let's put this.
Yeah, because I sent you half a dozen of these paperbacks.
So this is 42 to 41.
41.
What we're going to do, guys and girls.
Haileigh's book.
So I got a few of them here. So the big one we're going to keep as a grand prize for somebody. We're going to give away these. I'm going to give away this one, and I'm going to give away.
You can do it right side up. It's even better.
Damn it! Well, I keep hearing them upside down about. Anyway, so we're going to get. See, it's a special. It's a collector's item. They see right there. Okay. There it is, right there. Look. So what we're going to do is, what time is it? Okay, so we got a little time down here. Well, let me let Sandra. We've been keeping her in it like she's a bad girl or something. And bad, Sandra, bad. We locked you up down there in the queue. So anyway, ladies and gentlemen, so this is what we're going to do. So I'm going to give away one of these and one of 41 together. Since it's Father's Day, I'm going to give y'all one of each. Okay, only for the first 2 sets, and then we'll give away one each. So, so anybody who wants 2 of these, one of these and one of 41s, which is one of these, you can't have that one because it's kind of getting, it's my show book, so it's getting kind of roughed up. Oh, look at these pictures on there. So anyway, we're going to give away one of these, and let me pull this out of here because it's brand spanking new. One of these. See? So now if you're really good people, okay, and you do this, what do you mean to guess? No, I can't ask you to guess damn screen. I'm sorry. So first off, you got to answer 2 questions. One, You need to tell me what the full name of this contest is and why you think I should give you a damn book. Okay? No, I'm serious. And then you have to tell me who his boss is. And if you can tell me both of those, I will send you 2 of these. I'll send you 1 of each, and I'll send them out.
Yay, she's back.
I'll send them out. And oh, there we go. Look, there she's back.
There's
Now
Haileigh.
you looked at me
She came off the
before you were
wall.
like this, and I couldn't figure out what.
Came off the wall to see her
Oh, finally.
author.
Yes. So anyway, so you got to tell me who his boss is. Now, y'all should know this by now. If you're a regular listener of this show, I have talked about John's boss many. It's not his literally boss, but close enough. Many times. So if you don't know who, I'm not even going to say. I'm just going to say if you don't know his boss is, you're in trouble. Okay, really and truly. And for you people out there listening, because it's not written anywhere in anything that we're talking about, I want the full name, not the half-assed name that y'all always send me. I want the full name of the contest. Yes. No. When I mean full name from the individual who sponsors it all the way through the entire name. Okay. So this is how we're going to do this. Number 1, 5, and 15 in that order. Y'all send them in. Y'all get the books. Make sure you send me all your information, and I will get them out to you in the morning. I will actually send them out quickly since tomorrow's Father's Day. I work with a company now that lets me do rush deliveries for the same price. So y'all think y'all got that? Now it's all in the archive if you got lost. Now this, none of y'all are getting, so and you see, you ain't getting that. So maybe in a year I might give it away. Who knows? After I get through listening, you might get it. Who knows?
But anyway, so we're doing this in celebration of Father's Day, but there's also Battlefield on special right now on Amazon. So you can also take advantage of this to be able to get that special gift for your father. It's anybody that likes science fiction. It's an amazing story, and it will make a great Father's Day gift. So I highly recommend that. And so you can get the ebook. This is the mass market paperback, or the size that Joe just had, or we have the audiobook, which is what he's holding up there, but it's also on Audible.
Now this one, whoops, let me turn it. Well, we can look at the back. It's got a cool cut picture on the back. The one that what's her face won't give me, Sarah, evil Sarah. Anyway, I'm sorry, guys. Sarah's mean, man. She don't like working deals. I'm just telling you, she's tough. Like every time I see her, because when I usually see them, like when we had Dragon Con this year, they usually have a couple of these pictures up there, Frank Frazetta's pictures. So I'm always trying to talk. I said, let me $100, because she looks at me like she gives me this look like, really, Joe, really? You've been smoking something? All right, $50. Go on, leave me alone. She's something else. But this one, I don't know how we're giving this one away yet. Let me set this one out of the way.
Okay.
No, I like this. This is a nice big. This is something for you real readers. I mean, you people who really like to read, like, my other half. This is the kind of book she likes. She needs that tactile sensation. She likes a big book that fits in her hand. I remember when I bought her Anne Rice's book, puppies. She was like, "Oh, I knew I loved you for a reason." I was like, "Oh, I wasn't sure quite how to take that." Oh man, but
anyway, so we got this book and the Battlefield Earth book. But the thing about this book, it makes it special now with these 2 ladies at the bottom of the screen, is this story, Slipstone, that Haileigh illustrated, was written by Sandra. And so it's just a real fun time travel story. It's just, you can find out why these books are always they always get such rave reviews. We've got 3 gold medals on volume 40 already, and we'll get that. We'll get it as well for volume 41. But it's because such originality. Time travel. Okay, so that's an old trope, but it's the new twists on stuff that makes a Rise of the Future winners the standout storyteller that you want to be able to read. And so what she did with this story here is just so much fun, and it's a very charming story, as well as a time travel, and it's got just a great ending. It's a feel good story, which I really, really like. And you got a great image that Haileigh did for it, but it's just
I just absolutely love Haileigh's art. I have my copy of it in my living room where I can see it all the time. I just love it. It's a classic. They told us that this would always be your favorite piece of art, and it definitely is. I just love it.
Thank you.
Colors, and it's just, you captured something that even I hadn't really pictured perfectly in my mind, but once I saw it, I was like, that's it. So it was just so that was probably one of the more fun moments of our week in Hollywood.
You know, I got what is today? So on the 21st, so you know, there's lots of video running around of when y'all all met and everything, but the ones I took actually go up on the 21st, and they're definitely from a different point of view than the way they take them. Like one of them, the camera's just on my chest, and I'm just walking around talking to everybody.
Yeah.
So everybody's completely ignoring the camera completely. Like poor Maliva, when she sees, she's going to slap me. But it's really good this way because one, the art's really up close because I'm standing in front of it, so it's really up close. And it's really in the camera well, but it's really in y'all's faces. And when we're talking, you can just see it. You can just see the emotion in your faces, which is one of the things I really love about this particular event. I always get a good copy of video to go through. There's 5 of them now, and every one of them you can really see the emotions. And so far, everybody's done really good about finding their author or their artist.
I've never had a problem with that.
Yeah.
So far, man, I'm waiting, but it's so far.
It ain't going to happen because we got such amazing art. I mean, these are award-winning artists. These are the best of the best.
Because I was talking really cool. I was talking with one of the authors, and they were like, and one of the illustrators actually like, do you think? I said, nah, so far everybody's hit it right on the money. You think I'm nervous? I said, I wouldn't worry about it. He's like, why? I said, because I don't know how they do it, but somehow or another, they always know which one it is. I said, and sure enough, they walked right in, saw their piece right off the bat. I mean, it's great stuff. And even I, who just are reading the stories, I can tell when I see the artwork. So it's really well done. So everybody does a good job. I mean, it's a lot of fun to watch. It's a lot of emotion in there, a lot of intense emotion in there. I'm not sure who's more in shock, the author or the illustrator.
I really love that process. I really love the process that you guys do that. Like you actually have the illustrators there, and the authors are the ones that come in and they have to guess which one's theirs. I think that was just really, really fun, and especially since it was like the first day.
Yeah, we pulled it forward because it used to be an issue. We'd have to then tape up the books, and we'd have to do all kinds, so nobody could see the art until we did the art reveal.
What was on Wednesday or something?
We pulled it forward a day, so it's like the first full day for the illustrator is when we did it.
Yeah.
So then we didn't have to worry about like keeping everybody apart and so it was over and done with. But it wasn't any less stressful, and it's not so much as guessing. It's like if with the illustration, right? It is an illustration of their story, and so you can come and say, "Oh yeah, that's like your art for Slipstone is so obviously Slipstone." There was just absolutely an instantaneous like, yeah, that's what that story is.
Yeah.
Yeah, it is really good fun. It's a lot of fun to watch. It's always it's a really good kind of feel good part of it. And I like that they moved it forward. I mean, because it used to be like 3 days in or something.
Yeah, it was the third day after the writers arrived, second day after the illustrators. And but like I said, we used to have to tape up the books when they're on display, and so that nobody would see the art. And we also run the risk too because we have review copies out there. Every added day, there's the risk that, this art is amazing, and then people are going to see it and just like it blows.
Yeah, I wanted to be surprised. I didn't want to see it beforehand. I absolutely wanted to be surprised.
Yeah, and I'm always amazed too with
tipped off
how an artist sees stuff. Because when I envision stuff, when I read a book, I read a lot of books, and then an artist reads it, and then they just, your mind's eye comes up with a different thing, and then you're able to visualize it. But you can take that vision and put it on paper. I can visualize, but I don't put it on paper. I just kind of like visualize and keep on reading. Yeah. I can, Joe and I have also have always had arguments over who can do the worst, stick people. I always think I would win, and he says no, he can win.
Echo laughed her butt off about one night we were sitting at the bar eating, and I said I was doing something, and I said, yeah, and then I drew a stick man, and she looked at it, she goes, oh, you weren't shitting, were you? You really dangerous. She starts, she got a big old belly laugh. I wanted to smack her.
But I was amazed that some of our artists are also writers too.
Yes, they are.
Yeah, Cherie.
Yeah, I can't draw. No, I'm just not. That's not one of my my talents. So
Yeah, like Cherie, CO4s. She's actually been submitting longer for writers. So she's gotten multiple honorable mention, maybe silver. She's going for getting. We've had, I think, 4 winners over the 40 years
that had both. That won both. That's pretty amazing. Yeah. That's a special talent because usually people are either good at one thing or another.
Yeah.
But to be good at both, that's nice.
Yeah, it is. Nice. I do notice a lot of them like to write children's books, though. It's kind of strange. A couple of them I've talked to while having dinner and stuff. I'm like, I think I want to write a children's book. I was like, okay.
I think because there's something more creative about it. You get to, it's not so much that you're simplifying something, but you're truly kind of, you're bringing out your own inner child, I feel like. And you're trying to see something that maybe you wish you had when you were a kid. Like what book was out there that you would have liked to have read, or teaching a lesson, I think, to a next generation.
I wish there'd have been audiobooks when I was a kid, man. I'd have got a lot more of them under my belt. We were required. Yeah, well, the last 4 private schools I went to, we were required every week. You had to read a book. You had to do a book report on them, and it was always the classics, or something like Where the Red Fern Grows, or Old Yeller, or Sound of Music. Just I remember my teacher said, "You're gonna read Sound of Music." I said, "Wait, why would I read?" I looked up at her. I said, "I'm confused, teacher. It's the Sound of Music. Aren't we missing something here? Like the music part?" So they took us to the movie like 2 weeks later. So
for me, it was The Outsiders.
Was it?
Yeah, The Outsiders. That one actually was funny. That one was funny enough. It was actually the other way around. I had picked up that book because of my father, and he pointed out to me saying that he read that as a kid, and then not too long later, I had to read it again for school. That one actually was one of my favorites. And then, of course, too, I enjoyed the fact that I got to watch the movie.
Yeah, that always helps. I know a lot of those books that we had to do book reports on when I was a kid all end up in some kind of movie somewhere along the line, which was fine. But my problem is even when I was young, my life was busy. So sitting down and reading was always a challenge. Now, audio, though, like this, or almost all that stuff before the pad went wonkers and disappeared, I would just plug it into my car when I was driving, because I drive a lot, and I would listen that way. Or when I'm doing archives or posting stuff for the network, I'll turn it on the stereo and listen to it through the stereo. That's how I listened to Mission Earth. Actually, mainly sitting down doing archives for the network is how I got through Mission Earth. And no, Jimmy, matter of fact, I'm glad I said that, because you can't buy the audiobook, but you can still buy the book. And I don't have any more to give away. I gave them all away. Yes.
Well, the audiobook, you can get that if you're an Audible subscriber. It's 1 credit.
Oh, yeah. So now you get. See, I didn't know they could get it. I didn't know it was available now. It's you got to tell me these things.
That's how I read. Oh my gosh, it was the book that we were assigned before.
Oh no, you had Typewriter.
Yes, Typewriter in the Sky. That's how I was able to get through it, and it was so much easier, and it was actually fun because there's that type of, the voices that make it very much
radio
alive.
theater, because it's radio theater, so we had multiple actors and all the sound effects. So it's like listening to a movie.
Exactly. So that's what it was actually very helpful for me, at least, to be able to really attain the information in which the story had.
Did you read it? You read it as well, Sandy, right?
Oh yeah, I loved it. Yeah. I've actually never listened to an audiobook. I know that's crazy.
Well, I tell you what, Battlefield Earth is long, but it's way better than the movie is, and for most people who like radio, like that kind of radio theater, it's really good. And I just finished Mission Earth, even though it took me a year to read it because I was fiddling around doing other stuff. Because technically it's 10 books, but really and truly, what I did was with Battlefield Earth, I just treated it like it was a TV show and put X amount of time away to listen to it. But now we actually play it for the holidays. We play Battlefield Earth, and we play War of the Worlds and something else. We play the original version of War of the Worlds where everyone thought they were being attacked. That's the version we actually play.
Yes, Orson Welles.
It sounds legit when you listen to it. You're like, oh well, maybe some shit was going on. I can see why.
Yeah.
But now that Mission Earth's going to be out there, we'll include it in. So but I mean, I would set it up. I'd listen about 4 hours a day or 5 hours a day, and I just put it on and running it through my house and listen while I was doing whatever. I found it very entertaining. It's a lot more fun to listen to. And I have a pretty good imagination, so I can escape through some of that stuff. But I enjoyed them, and I still today really enjoy it. And if it's somebody with a really good voice, especially if it's a guy with a good deep voice, I can sit there and listen to it all day long. Get a glass of wine, especially if it's a rainy day. Turn it on. It's better than listening to music. It's just because you can escape into whatever adventure it is. You're not holding the book. You're not all cranked up, where you got the book and you're leaning in a chair, you got to fumble for you. Well, no, you're very comfortable doing whatever you are. And I so far I enjoy it. But like I said, audiobooks are easier for me. A lot of people like the tactile sensation of reading a book. So it's different for different people. My wife wouldn't listen. It was the last thing on the planet. She wouldn't listen to a freaking audiobook. She always looks at me like I'm crazy. She's like, what is that? It's an audiobook. Turn that damn thing off. She always tells me, read a book.
So Sandy, when you read Typewriter in the Sky, because it's a definite play on writers too. I mean, obviously,
he's kind of getting the little digs in there, hack writers and
Horace Hackett.
Yeah,
but also the whole thing of like, because sometimes I've done a lot of interviews with authors over the years, and
the writers must be getting John.
Well, they talk about sometimes your characters, all of a sudden he's walking down the street and then turns into the movie theater, which was like, that wasn't what he was supposed to do. I had him going this way here, and he goes the other direction. And it's like, it's also a play on that too, where, where his friend knows that he is the villain is going to be killed off at the end. So he's trying to survive and change the story. And then Hackett is all of a sudden the story just changes and goes, everything changes.
Yeah.
Which is just, it's just really, really funny how he does that. And it's, and a lot of those names that come up in there are his pen names. So a lot of the names that he uses later on in the bar at the very end and throughout the story are any of his 15 pen names that he uses, that he was using as an author, because he wrote a lot of different stories. So it was just really interesting how he did that. And it
was a really clever concept, because as a writer, I've had that feeling of, my characters are doing stuff that I hadn't intended, but this was kind of to an extreme. And he was probably the first person, I think, to do that.
That was the beginning of that subgenre. Yeah.
Has been copied.
Yeah.
But he, Hubbard did it first. And, it was quite clever. I really got a kick out of it.
Yeah. So
interesting.
Anyway, so now as because we went over this with Haileigh already, but for yourself, because now we're a couple months after you're back from Hollywood. So what stands in your mind as some of the like highlights of that week where you were there?
I mean, I thought that my fellow writers and illustrator winners were some of the nicest people and talented people that I've ever met. And I think one of the big things I took back with me was just a lot of new friendships and a lot of good contacts with people. And we're definitely still in touch. So I think I didn't expect to connect so well with people. I'm generally outgoing and I like to talk to people. But, you sometimes you find, you hit it off with this one, but maybe not that one. I thought our group as a whole was just fantastic. And we all hit it off. There was just so much talent. Everyone was just so nice. And the illustrators were so talented. And every time I looked at stuff that they did. So I would say probably the friendships And I can remember just sitting there and, in our workshop, and, first you're wowed, you have like Tim Powers and Jodi Lanai, but then this parade of authors that I've loved and admired for years were just, endless. Here comes Nancy Kress and Orson Scott Card and S.M. Sterling. And I like Larry Niven. I was like, you're gotta be kidding me. I guess I didn't expect, so many of them to be there. And, they spoke to us like we were, fellow writers, and, they were honest. They answered our questions, and, they gave us a lot of good nuggets. I mean, I took a lot of notes. And in fact, every, a couple times a week I'll go through, because you don't want to lose that, because I mean, to me, that's just gold. And I was one of the people that, one of the things you do in the workshop is you write a 24-hour story, that was another high, because that was so much fun. And the fact that we were all able to do it was just, I learned so much about my writing process by doing that, because before I was kind of a writer that would, write a little bit and then go back and revise and just kind of, but it kind of forced me just get it all out. But my story was one of the two that was chosen for critique. And so all my fellow writers, plus our, Jodi Lynn and Tim Powers, critiqued it. So I've always wanted to get feedback. Like one of the not regrets, but I had always wanted to get a semi-finalist win in the contest, because then you would get a critique. And I thought that would be phenomenal to get that feedback. But now I was like, oh my God, I actually have a critique from Jodi Lanai. So that was definitely a highlight. And I'm still, I set that aside. I didn't want to jump into revisions right away, but the past couple of weeks I've been going through the comments and trying to, seeing what I should incorporate in revising that story. And who knows, I'll try to get a sale with it, but it's tough.
That's amazing how many stories actually sell.
I've heard it.
Stories, almost all of them end up selling. You'll do your revise and then you'll sell it. And then you should definitely look around also to see what other places you can sell your book. I mean, sell your story. I wrote to everybody earlier on that. So I'm just curious what, because there's lots of essays that are going over, because you went through the online writing workshop first, and then you went to the workshop, which actually enabled you to do a little bit more than what they used to before we created that online course. But I always enjoy asking the judges this, because they did the course, or they did the workshop however many decades ago.
Yeah.
Right. So which Owen Hubbard essay they remember most, that was most impactful, and they always come, oh yeah, I remember this one here, I remember that one there. Anything stand out for you from what you
you know what, it was weird, because I had done the online workshop several years ago. But I reread those essays, and I actually downloaded. I read everything on my Kindle, and I did download those on my Kindle, and I think it was the one on suspense.
Yeah,
that kind of resonated with me. And I think the first time I had read it, it didn't click so much. But now, having more practice writing and revising, etc., when I read it that last time, it was like, oh, okay. It just sort of clicked. So I think there's a benefit to going back, after you have a little bit more experience, because sometimes some things is like, okay, yeah, sure. But with the second time around, and that one, I think really clicked with me. It's like, oh yeah, now I get it. So that was a benefit just to reread that.
That's good. Yeah. Because when I talked to, that one there, and the ones on Search for Research, how they come up with story ideas, how I did it. Mm-hmm. And then also with several of the illustrator judges that had done the workshops earlier, just the one on the essay that Hubbard wrote called Art More About, where he says art is the quality of communication. Some artists, they don't know when to just stop and say it's done. It's like, when is art? And it applies to both writing and to illustration.
Yeah.
It's the communication that's the senior datum with whatever you're doing.
Yeah.
So that's something that, especially with short stories, you can go over and over and over and over, and you finally get from the judges saying, no, just be done with it. Move on, just finish your story. And Dean Wesley Smith, who didn't make it this year, he'll talk about how because he does everything first time and just submits it. He writes, he's like 100,000 words a month or 80,000 words a month, which is what Hubbard used to do. But he says, like, when you quote unquote polish a story, when you pick a rock, it's got all its exact, it's got its crevices and its edges and some of its pokey parts. When you put it in a rock polisher and you keep on polishing it, it comes out looking like every other polished rock. It's no longer unique. It's no longer unique. So just you get yourself to where you can actually master your grammar, master your English, and other than going through and cleaning up any punctuation and grammar points, leave it alone. Just it's the raw story. It's that create, and that's what his whole thing is that he really pushes for.
Yeah. No, I think there's a lot of truth to that. I mean, sometimes there'll be flaws in stories, parts that don't work. But I think if you look at all the volumes, at least all the ones of Writers of the Future, it's such a mix of stories.
Yeah.
Right. So, I mean, obviously, not everybody likes the same thing, but somehow you manage to, every volume has just a wide variety. So every story, my point is, every story will appeal to some person.
Some different person, yeah.
Yeah.
And what's cool too with the illustration, since Echo came on board, is we have all types of art represented. We've got the Chinese, we've got the Korean, we've got the Latin, from Costa Rica, which was different than what we've got in UK, which is different than what was in we had some stuff in the Middle East. It's all different aspects of it, and so it looks way different. Each piece looks way different in terms of the type of style, but we don't go for it's all got to be Marvel or Disney. It's just it's not what we are. It's just that creativity, and so anybody can enter. And this year we had winners from 5 countries. Last year we had winners from 8 countries. We have 2 new countries this year we'll be announcing.
Wow.
That have won for the first time. So it's very exciting, that we can do. It really is international, and it's open to anybody that really wants to submit that has that creativity. And then, from here at the contest, our biggest thrill is just meeting such wonderful people. We get so excited about that. I mean, Emily, she's like, she loves talking about Haileigh, and she's like, oh yeah, this is great here. And, and she's so excited about helping everybody get into Dragon Con or helping get other conventions, so, I got this one here. Okay, good. And she'll work through people, and she wants, she so loves seeing, the, not children, but it's like your judge will say, here, these are my children, these are my kids, but seeing everybody blossom, and realizing a dream that some have been going on. So many people, like, this is like your this could be your second career, as an author. We have other people too that they tried being a writer when they were young and they couldn't cut it, so they became a doctor. I said, okay, good, I'm going to try it again. So then now they're 60s and they're saying, okay, I'm going to do it. And they win the contest and go like, wow, okay, good. They really want to do this. And it's that creativity. It's very scary. It's in an environment, it's in a world which, a creative, you bury your soul. And if you get in the wrong crowd, they'll have no qualms about like crushing you, and trying to like stick a knife in there. And with the group that you got with Writers and Illustrators of the Future, you have a safety net there that is so rare out there.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, I think Haileigh will agree. I mean, I've never met a nicer group of people. The Galaxy Press and all the staff. And it was just obvious to me that you all just were happy to be there.
Yeah.
And it was just so genuine. And I felt comfortable and at ease from the, the moment, people, someone met me at the airport. I mean, it was just, I was just comfortable and at ease the whole time. It was an amazing experience.
Yeah.
I completely agree. I think a few of us were waiting for the other shoe to drop and just be like, all right, what do they want? But truly actually meeting you guys and then all the other winners itself, I think it was disarming, and it was in the best way, because we truly just got to see and believe that what you guys were saying, it was true. You genuinely just were good people that really wanted to help us nurture our own talents, and you believed in us. And I think that's what's really important, is that we really felt like we had somebody in our corner. And I think that's what was really important too, because it felt less like a competition and more like, it's not just one person winning, it's all of us are winning,
Yeah.
And I think that was important.
Yeah. And you'll find too that the judges are very eager to bring you on board as a peer now. You're not like, a wannabe, you're a peer for them that they want to be able to help. Like you said, with Rob Pryor wanting to work with you, Haileigh, it's like, I mean, that's a serious connection.
Yeah.
And then Joe's got his story of what he was like when he first connected up, and he heard, okay, I'm going to find out where the other shoe is going to drop.
I was just talking about you about that the other day too. Somebody asked me about that. It was a very weird story, but I'm not going to get into much, but somebody had asked me on one of our websites, I have the 10-book set. You know what I'm talking about?
Yeah, Mission Earth.
And so somebody was giving me shit about it, and I was like, why? Oh, do you know them people are evil? I said, what people? Them people that write us the future? I said, I know all of them. They ain't none of them evil. And they're like, no, I'm telling you, you don't know. You don't know. I said, well, I've been knowing them for going on 6 years now. I said, I said, they're so nice, it scares the hell out of me. I said, but evil is not what I'd call them. He's like, well, what do you mean? I said, well, they're too nice. I'm waiting for somebody. I said, I'm waiting for that Maliva chick to jump out of a closet with 2 axes. But so far it hasn't happened. I said, so we're okay. I said, so we're okay. I said, no.
You can finish your story. I'll be back in 1 minute.
Yeah, go ahead. I said, really and truly, they're just really good people. I mean, you never know when you hear about a I mean, I've been invited to a lot of contests over the years, and most of them turned out to be, we'll just say, disappointing and leave it at that. I mean, one of them actually told the guys in New York City, I said, look, I said, have my ticket ready for me to leave in the morning. Oh, it's for 3 more days. I said, no. I said, have my ticket for me to leave in the morning, or the next thing I write is going to be unflattering. I said, so it would be just best to send me home now. I said, the people here are really nice. I said, but everything else is a complete joke. And I said, I don't want to be mean to you. I said, so send me home now. I said, because if you keep me any longer, it's not going to be a nice review. And I just wrote to people. I said, I wouldn't advise going there, is all I actually wrote. But it was a joke. They had y'all paying for everything. They said, oh, you don't have to pay for anything. And then when you got there, of course, you had to pay for everything. And, some contests, people got money, some don't. It just depends where you are in life. Somebody said, well, you don't understand. You're rich. I said, yeah, but I'm poor too. I've been poor. Trust me. I said, I've even slept in my car before. I said, so don't tell me I don't understand the difference. It's, but so with John, I was hard on John. I really was. For over a year, I was hard on John. I mean, I told him stuff like, I would turn y'all's faces red, some of the shit I told him. And I was like, what? He called me up. I remember the day he told me, oh, it's blind draw. I said, blind draw. I'm like, bleep, 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 and bleep, and ass, man. Nobody blind draws. Bleep, bleep, bleep. I tore him up. And then I was like, he said, no. I said, John, I don't believe you, man. I said, it's L. Ron Hubbard. I said, no. So this went on for about a year, a little over a year. And finally, he just calls me. He says, "Oh, God, just come out here and find out for yourself." He was tired of arguing with me. Is what it was. So I went out there, and I went out there the year they came back from COVID. So it was a double year.
Mm.
Oh, okay. I remember that. Yeah.
So there was 48 instead of 24, and there was extra judges. It was insane, is what it was.
But must have been crowded. I can't even imagine.
And we went to Roosevelt that year, so it was a little different setup. But I told him I wanted unfeathered access. Unfeathered. I don't know why I keep using that feather word, but anyway, I wanted access to everybody. I didn't want any kind of restricted access of any kind. I said I want to be able to talk to the winners, the judges, and the staff anytime I want on any subject I want without anybody being around. So I got in, I flew in. I'm harassing the poor guy driving the car back to the hotel. Got him like 30 question answer, and so I talked with them, and then I got out and I sat down and talked with Joni for quite a long time, for about 2 hours. And I know she's a busy woman. Y'all know that.
Yeah.
And talked with John and Emily, and then I met the staff over at Writers of the Future, the whole bunch over at the office and all. And that's when I found the coffee machine. I said, "Oh, that's one brownie point for y'all." It's a coffee.
Oh, I remember that was quite the coffee machine.
Yeah, so that was one brownie point for him, I gotta say. And
John is very talented at that.
Yeah, I told him he missed his calling. He should have been a barista, man.
It's a beautiful. What we're talking about is this beautiful Italian espresso machine. I mean,
it makes fabulous coffee.
It's a work of art, right? Just the coffee machine was a work of art.
Yes, and the offices themselves are really pretty. I mean, whoever did the work in the office is really pretty. But
it matches the office.
Yeah. So then, after harassing his staff for like God knows 2 days, I started harassing all the winners, and all the winners were very nice. And then I got to the judges, and I put some hard questions on the judges, and believe it or not, they answered me without even what. One of the best things that convinced me about all of this is when I asked a question, whether it was to the staff, to the winners, or to the judges, no one ever hesitated to answer. I mean, a hesitation is almost always a given that somebody's about to lie to you. So in this case, no one hesitated. Some of them were just overly full of information too. I was like, okay, that's enough. I don't need no more information. That's plenty of information. Let's just stop right there. And then I got to meet everybody. And then I got to say, it was, and I came in a little late that year, so they were right in the middle of setting up everything. So I didn't get to really see Emily for a couple of days, other than her, having a glass of wine, and because she never got in till like midnight. And but it was amazing to see how it worked. It was amazing to see how many people they had there that year and how well everything went together. And everything John told me was exactly what John told me, which is, I got to say, very, very, very rare. Usually I always allow myself X amount of disappointment when I go to one of these, because I know somewhere along the line I'm going to be disappointed, but I have to say, not in this one. One of the reasons I plug them anywhere I go. It's one of the reasons I take questions after I do Q&As on any, and I'm not even talking about anything about them. Somebody always asks me that, whether I'm doing political or alien, somebody always asks me, "Oh, aren't you one of them Writers of the Future people?" I said, "No, I'm just fresh. What do you want to know?" And then they'll ask 50 questions, and because I've been doing a lot of college lectures lately, and they all want to know. They all want to know about it. Everybody has good questions, and I know we did. I did that English Lit class for Tulane University, which is Ivy League, and they were more interested in, because I went there for politics. They were more interested in alien stuff than politics. But at the end, the teacher asked me about it. He said, "Don't you do stuff with Writers of the Future?" I said, "Yeah." He said, "Can you tell us a little bit about it?" He said, "Because this whole class is very talented." So I spent, about 20 minutes of my 50 minutes of Q&A to tell them about it. And they were very, very curious, very happy to know about it. Everybody had really legit questions to ask. And then when I told them how it worked, they're like, "Really?" I'm like, "Yes." I said, "Yeah, they fly you out there." I said, "I don't know why they fly you out there, but they do." He's like, "What?" I said, "They fly you out there and put you in a damn hotel room. I'd be telling you I walk out here." They're nicer than I am. And when I walked through the whole contest, and I told them, of course, which is almost always what I say, it's just go over to writersofthefuture.com and check it out for yourself. It's the easiest way to do it. And I said, and if you just want to go shopping, go over to galaxypress.com and go shopping.
And the forum's nice too. I mean, the Writers of the Future forum, because you can talk to other people who are either trying to win the contest or who have won the contest. And
That's right.
that's a very supportive group. Highly recommended if anyone
And
is
then there's
interested.
that wolf pack that keeps winning, man. That wolf pack guy.
Yeah.
They some winning SOBs is what they are. Of course, the Wolf Moon is.
A lot of talent there. Yep.
Yeah,
I give Wolf as much trouble as I
Wolf
give
Moon's gonna
John.
be a guest on the podcast in a couple of weeks, and then right after this show, in half an hour, I'm going to be doing a Zoom with 3 of the illustrator winners to go over how to create the forum for the illustrators.
Oh, okay. That's great.
This is my personal copy because this is an autograph copy.
Oh,
And
okay.
we're talking about this gentleman right here.
Yeah.
How to write a good story. Let me tell you
Wolf
what, pay
Moon,
attention to it because he wins. One of his people win almost every year. So I pay a little attention to it. This goes back over here to Taglyan. Hubbard looks like I got stashed it.
Yeah. And that he's got a workshop, but there's also the Writers of the Future online workshop, which Emily created. She's the one that actually put it together and scripted it out. And then we got we flew Scott Card in, and Dave Wolverine unfortunately passed away a few years ago. And then Tim Powers, he drove in, and we did all the interviews and put together the whole thing. And she took the L. Ron Hubbard essays and the one essay from the original founding judge, and put together this thing here. And we've got we should be hitting number 10,000 in the next month or so of people taking the course.
Okay.
Yeah,
So
it's busy over there.
it's
Jackie,
free.
Emily,
Everything on that side is free.
yeah, everything is free. No, Jenny, Emily is like the elusive Canadian reindeer that you can never see. That's Emily. No, you got to know when she's around, man, because she's like, and she's gone. She's like the whirlwind. I just grab her when she comes. I know her well enough that I can snatch her up now when she comes in. Before I wouldn't do that, but now like, come here, let me talk to you for a minute. She's like, oh damn it, Joey, leave me alone. I got things I got to do. It's just a great bunch of people. If you can win, ladies, and I say this all the time, if you win, and of course the only way you can win is to submit. But if you win, you're gonna have a great time. I mean, you're gonna learn stuff that you didn't even think you needed to learn. There's information there out of the yin yang. I mean, even I have learned. I was telling this to John a couple of weeks ago, and I do make fun about this, but I've interviewed a lot of authors over the year, probably well over 1,000 by now, and I've probably interviewed a few hundred for them now. But the thing about it is I really never understood after hanging out with these guys, especially hanging out with Tim and Joni and Dave and a whole bunch of them. I've actually learned quite a bit about writing. I could actually hold a conversation with somebody, an actual professional, and actually know what the hell I'm talking about, and even use terminology that they go, "Oh wow, where'd you learn that big word from?" It's but it does. Eventually I'll either write a book, or I'll have someone write it from. We've actually got 4 books outlined now, but I just my brain unfortunately just works faster than my finger. It works faster than my mouth does half the time. I've tried putting it on, on tape and coming. It's like jibber jabber. It's unfortunate. I got to figure out a way to either make my fingers faster or my brain slower. I'm not sure how we're going to work this out, but I have thought about a ghostwriter. A couple of people I've talked to have asked me about it, and I have thought about it because we have 2 of which would make really, really, really big stories, and 2 that are just more, probably I would consider more like a documentary than anything else. But the Golf Breeze experience is an 11-day experience. So it's whatever it is, it's going to be a big book. I know I was writing it in the beginning. I was up to 80,000 words thanks to these guys. As I deleted the whole thing. It was like jibber jabber, but it's all because I was there. When I was in LA on 4 different occasions, I sat down and wrote 20,000 words. Just felt like I was channeling Elron. But again, I forget like whole paragraphs, which if you don't remember them and you're trying to figure the story out, you're kind of like, wait, what's missing here? And it's just bad for me. I mean, I'll be like, paragraph missing, another paragraph missing. So if anybody's trying to read it, they're like, Joe, what kind of drugs were you on? You wrote this. So anyway, so I'm jealous of anybody who can actually sit down and really write. I'm actually, same thing with art. I mean, I've never had any talent when it came to any type of artwork at all. I even sat through a couple of art classes in 2 different schools, and I didn't have the talent. My daughters, on the other hand, all 3 of my stepdaughters and my stepson, they're fabulous artists. I paid for one of them to go to art school. paid her. She went to all that art school, won all kind of contests, and then she even won the little tiny contest. You know where you got the guys on the back of the book. She won that contest.
Oh,
and,
okay.
and then you know what she ended up doing for a living? She's a major leasing agent for a big company down here. She said, "Well, I make so much money." I'm like, I said, "But you got so much talent." She said, "But I make so much money." Like, okay, I'm not going to argue with you about it. And I mean, she did. She won several contests in school. Then she won the big contest when she got out, and I said at art school, and she was doing really well. And where she got on with the leasing company, and she became like their number one leaser in less than a year. So that was it. It was never getting her out of there. And I was like, let me just,
Yeah.
And then my son can write, but you don't want to turn anything in. My oldest stepson's a great artist, but he just likes to do it for himself. And my other two are so busy. See, you got my baby. Oh, that day, baby.
He's so cute.
Take your little heathen
Yeah,
blacks. That's my 4 pounds. Yes, that's my 4 pounds of living hell. The big one who's like 12 pounds. The big one's over there sleeping. She's 12 pounds. She's like, okay. But the little one, she comes in here. If I'm on air for too long, it's time for me to get off. I got to give her some lovins. I better have a snack around, or else it's going to be hell. I know we got to get out of here.
But anyway, we still have Father's Day here. So like, how are we doing on those giveaways?
I'll have to check. Where is my email? Let's go find out. Click and click. Top tips recommended. We don't care about that. Let's see. Well, it looks like we got 1, 3, and 15, and then we got several others in here. So, okay, guys, so I'm gonna go through 1, 3, and 15. If the answers are correct, then I will go ahead and send them out. And then tomorrow, because I'm doing a special thing with my grandson tomorrow. I called him. Well, I can't use the word because there's ladies present, but I called him this word because I want him to come get on air with me and start looking. He's how can I say this? He's really into the earths and arts and how the life and the universe is. So I figured, look, there's a lot of people on our network that are into that kind of stuff and conspiracies. Oh yeah, he loves conspiracies. So I said, come hang out with me on Thursday. So I've been bugging him for a while. So finally he was sitting on the couch next to me yesterday. I said, you're a big blanket, and I used the P word. I said, so then he got mad at me. So he tells me, all right, I'm coming to hang out with you Sunday. We're going to get on the air. I said, yeah, I'm going to teach you how to be a real live radio show host, TV host. Good looking guy, too. Well, he's got talent. Why waste it? I mean, he's got a good job and all. It's not that. It's just he might be better at this. And I'm always looking for good people because we're in the middle of getting ready to split the station. We're gonna have a second channel. So the first channel is going to be all paranormal and ufology stuff, and the second channel is going to be stuff like this and our news shows and the chat and other shows that we have on the network, self-help shows and how to advertise your shows. Because like we have a Marine that works for the Marines. It's all he did was promote the Marines. He's damn good at it too. That's Fred Smith, and he's teaching people how to do that. So you'll see a lot of that kind of stuff on the second channel. And United Public Radio is where we go when we want to interview any kind of politician. Like when I was in LA, I introduced Mayor Bass. By the way, they NBC bought that interview right out. They've added 3 times in LA now.
Wow.
And yeah, well, I don't own it anymore because they bought it outright, which was great. And then looked like I was going to get an interview with who, Mr. Newsom. But apparently he's having issues right now, so I'm going to have to wait. And but Carolyn, I don't want to pick on your mayor and your governor. I don't live in California. I have a good mayor and governor where I live, so I'm not. They love us down here. Yes, we have cheap food, cheap gas, cheap cars, casinos, beaches. Yeah, we're happy people. We're not like them blue states. We're actually happy. It's I will eventually do Newsom's interview, but I will wait until things calm down a little bit because I feel like he would need to be hostile, and if he was hostile, that would of course make me hostile. So we don't want to go there. I love California. I got a lot of friends that live in California, especially in Los Angeles and San Francisco. And when I see stuff like this, it kind of upsets me. So I stay out of it as much as I can. I just, check on John and make sure Emily's well armed. That's all I worry about. As long as she's armed, I'm not worried about it. She'll take them out.
And Haileigh's also here. She's just down the street.
Literally.
Yes, y'all be careful. Really. I mean, in all funniness, I've had a lot of my friends go to Vegas. That's where they're at right now. They left LA and are in Vegas right now.
They go to Vegas, then go to Arizona.
Yeah, in Arizona. Yeah. Now, Jeffrey and his wife went to Sedona. Christopher went to Scottsdale. A couple of them, like I said, about 5 of them went to Vegas. 2 of them went to Vegas because they want to go down to Area 51. That's why they actually went to Vegas. But it's it was because of the rides, and it's different because a couple of my friends said they haven't seen anything, haven't seen any problems, no trouble. And then a couple of my friends are like, "Oh my God, can I come stay with you?" I'm like, "No." It's like, "No, you can't come stay with me."
No, it's been crazy. I mean, over here, I know from what I've seen actually things happen within my
I'm worried because I got a lot of
my
friends
own
there.
neighborhood.
Yeah.
I got a lot of friends there, and I've actually got a lot of.
Just before we started our show, there was a demonstration marching right in front of us here. I mean, right behind me here is Hollywood Boulevard. Yeah. So that way, a block is the Chinese Theater. So I'm right here in the heart of it here.
Yeah. So it's different though down here. Like the Florida governor was on TV yesterday and said, if you stand in front of a car and you get run over, don't come crying to us. That's the difference between LA and Miami. One didn't get out there high, and the other one like and bump. It's not even the same. It's just a whole different world. So I just want all my friends to be safe. I got a lot of friends down there. I got a lot of friends, that are legal, but still not from here originally. So I worry about them as well. So, but so far that seems to be fine. I just, like I said, I got a lot of friends there, and my last name is not exactly an American last name. So you got to be careful there, man. It's but anyway, y'all be really careful there and watch. I already told John if it gets too crazy, I'll get my friend. We'll go to the alligator farm. We'll wrap up about 25 alligators. We'll come up there, let them loose in Hollywood Boulevard. I get you. I guarantee the crowd clears. I guarantee there'll be no more crowd out there bothering anybody, man. They'll be like, is that alligators? Or we leaving?
Instead of the bull run, it'll turn into the alligator run.
Exactly. At least, a friend of mine the other day said, well, alligators are slow. I said, no, they can actually run 25 miles an hour on land.
They are fast. They are fast.
For looking like some old languity old creatures, they are fast.
And aren't they everywhere? I mean, in ponds.
Oh, down here, they're everywhere. So if you walk out my backyard, if you walk out my backyard right now, if we have rain for 2 or 3 days, the alligators from the Wolf River will come in my backyard. Now, my backyard's actually hooked to the
I love animals and everything, but that's a little too close.
Well, I got chihuahuas, so I got to watch. I got eagles.
Oh no,
that's
so true.
Yeah, so we got all kind of stuff. But I mean, we do have an eagle that likes to fly by. We got a couple of ospreys that breed here 6 months out of the year. We got hawks that come by. We got otters that hang out my back. Me and otters have fought it out a couple times because they like to eat my crabs and my crab traps. But I mean, literally, if you look out of my back door, I'm less than 20 feet from the water.
Oh, okay. All right. So you're.
But we only get alligators if the water's really fresh because my bayou is connected to the Gulf of Mexico.
I can't.
I'm 200 yards from the Gulf of Mexico and the beach. So
the Gulf of America.
The Gulf of America. I'm sorry. As long as that water is in the back and it stays real salty, and the gators will stay upriver. But if it gets real fresh, they come down. Now the other problem is I live in Henderson Point, which is I don't know how I got in this neighborhood, but anyway, it's a little upscale neighborhood. So they have strict rules about alligators. If it gets over 3 feet, guess what? It gets taken out the bayou. They don't allow any big gators, any big snakes, anything like that. If they see them, they take them out the bayou because they want it to be kid friendly, so you can go swimming and ride your jet skis.
Well, yeah, I mean, I would worry about you can't let little kids out in your backyard.
Yeah,
and we have deer. I have groundhogs, rabbits. I have snakes. Just rat snakes, but. No, I'm in
we got a couple of snakes.
We got a couple of gators here. Nothing will eat you. Well, coyotes. We have coyotes.
I did have to have.
That's the only thing we got to worry about, maybe.
I did have to have a bobcat picked up. We had a bobcat that was living on top of my car, and I had to have him picked up. Well, he was going to end up eating my dog, so I had to have him picked up. I didn't want to kill him. So it's like with the otters. I didn't want to kill him, but I want him to stop eating my crabs because I keep crab pods in my backyard, so I get fresh crab out anytime I want them. I mean, I got a whole garden downstairs. I have bell pepper and cucumber and tomatoes, you name it. I got planted down there, all kind of herbs. So I like the fresh, and I can get crabs right out the bayou anytime when I can catch any kind of fish out of there, pretty much anytime I want. So it's nice living here. My neighbor's got live chickens, which I don't know how he gets away with that, but he got chickens over there. I'm not sure how. I'm surprised they let him have chickens in his neighborhood. These people are weird around here. I feel like I live in the Twilight Zone sometimes. But hey, there's strict. But I know we got to get. I know we got to get out of here.
How do we? How does someone find you, Haileigh? Besides driving to Los Angeles.
Yes, so you could find me on my website, my portfolio website, which is my name, Haileigh Enriquez .myportfolio.com. Pretty easy. And you could always find me on Instagram at HaileighEnriquez.art. So you could always take a look at my pieces. I know my goal, especially with Dragon Con coming up, is to produce more art and also promote it.
You
So
kind of
I'm
look
really
like
excited.
Iglesias. You're not related to Iglesias, are you?
Enrique Iglesias?
I'm just teasing you. When you said his name, when you said your last name, his name clicked in my head for some reason. I got to meet him in San Diego one year. He was older than I thought he was. He always looks so young when you see him doing videos. I mean, he does some pretty hot videos, and I thought he was like 30, 32. He's like 44. I was like, damn. I was surprised because my mom always had a crush on his dad her entire life. Julio, she always had a big thing for Julio. I was like, Mom. She's like, he's not that much older than me. I said, yeah, he's like 30 years. She didn't care. She didn't care. That's an interesting family there. I got to say, they are some really nice people, or at least they were to me.
So Haileigh, then write to Emily too, so you can make sure so that she can help you work out the most you can get out of Dragon Con.
Definitely, yeah. She helped me a lot with just giving me little advice with planning and everything. And I'm gonna be there for the whole thing. So I'll definitely reach out to her more.
And we'll definitely be seeing you at our booth. So I'm looking forward to seeing you.
Yeah,
we're
I'm so
looking forward to
excited.
seeing you straight up all the time instead of sideways half the time.
Be sure you start getting your exercise a couple of months ahead of time, getting shape.
Yeah,
a lot of walking
Sandy,
going on.
And then Sandy, how do people find you?
Probably the best way. I don't have my own website yet. I'm working on that, but you can find me at Sandra Skalski author on Facebook. Good. I kind of wrote about every day of my Writers of the Future workshop. So if anybody's interested in kind of a description of what happened during the week, I wrote about it there.
Good. And then this is the book that both Sandra and Haileigh are in, and the story that Sandra wrote, Slipstone, is just an amazingly fun, like I said, time travel story. And this is the illustration that Haileigh did for it, which was just like it took like half a second to find the illustration. That was the illustration for Slipstone. So it really definitely is intriguing. It makes you want to read the story, and the story is absolutely a very, very fun story. And I love stories that have happy endings, and this has a very happy ending, which is great.
Oh, well, thanks.
It does. Definitely. Yeah. I enjoyed every minute of reading it. To be able to be a part of it is just an honor. And thank you so much, Sandy.
Yeah, and thank you. I always love that piece of art.
Thank you. I'm so happy.
The first set's going to New York City. Yay. And it looks like the second set's going to Scottsdale. We were just talking about them a second ago.
Nice.
I haven't seen the third set yet. We'll have to see on that. But y'all, it only these days we got this thing where we ship ships through Amazon actually, so it takes about a day, maybe two. Yeah, so y'all get them quick.
Awesome.
And it's Father's Day tomorrow, so take advantage of this. You got a special too that you can take advantage and go to Amazon.com and you can get Battlefield Earth for I think it's like $3 or something like that. It's real inexpensive, and then also I think there's a discount also on Rise of the Future.
Now, Big Daddy here, we'll have to discuss who's going to get this. Yes.
All right, good.
So we'll have to discuss who's going to get this. So maybe we might have to have some favors here, send me a pizza or something. I'm just kidding. I'm just kidding. Don't send me a pizza. I was just kidding. Last time I said that, I got 5 pizzas. So I'm just teasing. It was hilariously funny. I'm not kidding you. I got 5 pizzas showed up at my house. That's what happens, people, when you put your address on the internet. Yes, it's very weird. I know we got to go, Kirby. No more questions, dudes. You can catch up with both of them. They're both around. They're both very talented. Be sure to check them out. Say hi.
If you're going to be at Dragon Con, you'll be able to see Haileigh there. She'll be at our booth, at Galaxy Press booth. And then Sandy, you're not going to make it, right? To Dragon Con?
No, gosh, I wish I could.
Yeah.
I really do.
We'll miss you.
Who knows? Maybe something will happen. I'll be able to go. But yeah.
So,
anyway, you'll definitely see Haileigh there.
I think I'm going in shorts this year. So,
Okay, Joe, you'll be staying. I got another booth reserved for you.
What's that? No, I would never wear shorts. I'd blind everybody with these white legs I got. Oh my God. It would be a horrible scene. You'd have to put glasses on and stuff, sunglasses.
I heard it's very different than over here. It's a lot more humid, right? But the weather
Oh,
is
so
not so much
Atlanta,
just hot,
so,
it's humid.
Yeah, the East Coast is very humid.
So Atlanta is not as humid as where I come from, but it's being September, it's 50-50. It could be nice and cool outside, or it could be really just
it'll be hot.
Be sticky.
Down on it.
Your hair will do this number. Bing!
Yeah, I know. I have had trouble.
Especially if you got curls, it'll be double B because but it's really nice. I mean, it's what is it? 4 hotels and the convention center. There's lots of stuff to see, lots of walking around. When I tell people, I always tell people they think I'm kidding them, but really take your first 3 months, get in shape. There's a lot of up and down hills there. So, one hotel's at the bottom of the hill, one hotel's at the top of the hill. So it's up and down, up and down. And if you want to go anywhere, also, it's a lot of hilly area out there. So, and of course, and the hotels are big. There's everything spread all over. Just where he's at, what is it, three levels? Wasn't it 3 levels last year?
Yeah.
It's massive. You could spend hours just one. Yeah. You could spend hours just roaming around there looking at the stuff that they have in there.
Yeah.
And then when you get to the other places,
So sorry, no, but so it's from what I taken it, it's 5 or 4 different hotels, and they all have like a little space in which they're
little
sharing
space.
the whole
They're full of
track.
the panels are all over the place. Like it's old school science fiction, which was the way fandom used to be. They used to you go to coffee shops and you just talk and chat with people, and so they're spread over all the hotels. So it's not a big convention center like if you go to San Diego Comic Con or Tampa Comic Con. There's this huge convention hall that everything's in there. This is like you've got America's Mart, which is I think 3 levels, which has all the booths in there. But then you've got all the hotels where the panels are, and so you go in there and you can meet people. They got restaurants and there's the coffee shops. You can sit and chat, and it's just spread all over so that.
And it's 24 hours a day.
85,000 people. So it's just it takes over all of downtown Atlanta. It's just it's way cool.
Oh yeah, Jeffrey, it's 24 hours, which amazed me.
Yeah.
Somebody said
the panels go. I don't know if they go till 6 o'clock in the morning, but they'll go till 2-3 o'clock in the morning. They have the events and activities. There's like well over 1,000 different events happening over that 4 days.
It's insanity. It's organized insanity is what it is. It's a lot of fun, but bring your stamina. Make sure you're eating because there's going to be a lot of walking, a lot of sitting, a lot of walking. But
as you can tell, Joe's really impressed by the walking.
It's a lot of walking. Last time I was there, my little footstep thing said last time there was like 50,000 feet a day. Man, I was like, come on, y'all trying to kill my old ass. But it is a lot of fun. It really is, and there's a lot of good people there, and there's a lot of costumes going on. So a lot of Darth Vaders and a lot of just a lot of lightsabers everywhere.
Yeah, very cool.
It's like everybody's carrying a lightsaber. But we got to get out of here because I got to get ready. I'm on in like 8 minutes on the next show. Guys, girls, I want to tell y'all thanks for hanging out. I hope y'all all.
Yeah, thanks. It was fun. It was
Thank
nice
you.
to meet you again.
I look forward to seeing
Thank
you
you so much, Joe. Thank you, Joe.
Just remember when you two are rich and famous, we want to interview. Okay.
Yeah. Remember
when I'm standing in the red carpet, they won't let me in. I know her. Y'all gotta let me in. I know her. Just remember. But anyway, we got to get out. I want to thank both of y'all again, ladies. Y'all did a fantastic job. John, great talking to you. I got some numbers before I leave.
Great.
We got to get out of here. Christopher, no, everybody else. hang out for the chat. I'm pretty sure the boys have already got it set up. I think I seen a number come across from Jay a few minutes ago. So y'all can go over there. They'll be talking about Israel and Iran. They'll be talking about LA. They'll be talking about the Ukraine. And then they'll get to the stupid stuff, which makes the show actually fun. So it can be a very serious show, but for the most part, we try to have fun over there. Oh, like the 14 ways you can't use an RV anywhere. Just stupid stuff. Yeah. So we do some of that too. Well, it's a 4-hour show, so there's lots of room to carry. And it's not a formatted show. It's an audience guided topic show is what it really is. The audience picks what we're going to talk about. Yes. It's more fun that way. Well, we do news. We did news last night for almost 4 hours. Yes. And there was lots. We actually had the Iranian Tel Aviv thing live, watching missiles and bombs flying all over the freaking place. Oh, it was wicked looking. It was wicked looking. I was like, thank God I don't live over there. I mean, no, really, when you see it, there's so many at one point, just so many coming and going that you're like thinking, damn, I'm glad I don't live there. It was, if you were there, imagine it was a horrific experience. I even watched the guy from the news. He's running around trying to find his helmet. That shit was funny as hell, by the way. He's all panicking. We got to go. Anyway, thanks again for tuning in, guys. Anyone listening to this?
Thank you, ladies. Very
Thank
nice
you.
seeing you.
Thank you so much.
Thanks a lot for coming
Bye.
on.
See you soon.
Okay, bye-bye.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.
To everyone listening tonight, you're listening to the Author's Quill on United Public Radio. Remember, you can always find us here every Saturday, and you can catch John's show earlier. It comes on about an hour, about 2 or 3 hours ago. So you can catch it there. It's Writers of the Future. It's right there. It's in between. And what's in between us is the professional, which is Echo Chernick. So you can catch us. So the three of us are there. And then, of course, we wrap up the day with the chat, which, of course, is just organized insanity. On that note, good night and stay tuned for the next shot. Thank you very much.